Hello, Emily Nash here with our final challenge of NTNA Season 8. For this challenge, we were asked to create a final look to round up all of our fashion-related challenges, as well as refurbish our past sets into something new. We were to take inspiration from the nail and fashion icon Jan Arnold of CND. To start off, making a ruffled nail, use cream puff and create a super thin layer of gel on a silicone mat. Keep the product thin and even to avoid rippling. I like to add a top coat before removing because it adds to the thickness without taking away from its flexibility. Cleanse very well with Scrub Fresh. This is important to avoid the sheet of polish sticking to itself while folding the ruffles. You want to make sure these ruffles have nice and smooth edges, so go ahead and cut into shape. My favorite part of these ruffles is making them come to life. I like to start off using a pair of tweezers to make it easier to hold, and once I have enough folded up, I can switch to my hand and finish the rest. Now, I do have to say this is a technique I tried in our very first fashion challenge, and I got rid of it because I couldn't get it right. So I'm happy that I tried again and found the secret to doing it. To secure the ruffles, use Brisa gel. Using the leftover gel from the ruffles, I created raised strips across the nail. Holding the nail right outside the light helps you be able to use two hands to secure something down. Now, one of my biggest goals for this set was to have all of the texture, whether it be 2D or 3D, so I tried my best to display that in this set. 3D is big and extravagant, and 2D texture is small, detailed, like fabric. Some other inspiration I pulled from was Libertine and the fabric in his collections. I have deeply fallen in love with his work, so I chose some fabric details to incorporate. Making a design look a bit sketchy can give it more of an organic feel, creating almost what actual fabric would look like. Different sizing of brushstrokes created by pressing harder in some areas and letting the pressure up can give that organic feel. I'd be lying if I said I didn't make some of this stuff up as I went. Creating from my own imagination and seeing what I come up with is half the fun. Again, I am just creating the texture off of the nail, but this nail reminded me of like an avant-garde, spiky, puffy sleeve. Use Brisa gel to secure all of your studs and embellishments. I wanted to show my sketch process. Try to get your sketch as even and as close to what you want, so you don't have to file a bunch. What I like about drawing it out beforehand is that it gives you a guideline to stick into and avoid wasting product. Going in with Brisa gel and a silicone tool, start tracing out your shape. I want to create a mixture between 2D and 3D with the gel. To do this in layers, I start building up what I want raised up. Now, to save time, just flash care even a couple seconds between layers, as this will harden the very top layer to prevent it from moving. Don't forget you can flip it upside down for a few seconds before curing if it starts to settle. To get the gold pigment to stick, I used the Plexi Gel top coat. I wanted something thin enough that it would not take away from the 3D shape. Using your fingers, rub it until it's smooth on the top coat. A silicone tool will help you rub off extra pigment, and a fan brush will help you get off all the crevices. Using the same technique as before to create this texture, but instead of the silicone, I am using the dotting tool end. If you notice that the string you get when pulling up the gel from the jar, use that string to create thin line texture. You can also use a colored gel instead of a clear, as it has a slight thicker viscosity to create 3D because of its pigment. These gold pieces are attached using magnets, but you can also pull them off and wear them as pins on your clothes or bag. Now, one thing I noticed Jan wearing a lot of was these lace socks with some kind of small design on them, so I wanted to include that into my design. It was easy to hold the fabric tight against the silicone mat while painting, but don't pull it off until you're ready to top coat. I chose to do different smiley faces because they make me happy, and Jan did say if you don't laugh at yourself a little bit when you look at what you're wearing, then is it really worth it? To make these into ruffles, use a needle and thread sewing along the bottom. Pull tight to cinch together. For this next nail, I wanted to create a mix of textiles ranging from print, newspaper, and denim. I used cream puff and my small detail brush to write words in Old English lettering. I love seeing high-end fashion made from a mix of textiles. I remember seeing a huge dress made out of nothing but newspaper while I was in college, and I fell in love. Fun fact, my first line of work I started going to college for was fashion design. Funny how things turned out. Create another sheet of gel and start writing your newspaper print. A cool way in making things stand out is make your writing just squiggly lines in some areas and actual words in others. Peep the NTNA Top 3! For this next part, I created multiple size squares out of flexi-gel. Once they were filed into shape, I started painting them with Vinylux. Now, the reasoning behind this was Vinylux dries super flat, so I wanted to maintain those crisp, square edges, and gel can sometimes round out edges, so I used Vinylux to maintain that square edge. Also using Vinylux and a fan brush, I am creating lines on the blue to mimic denim. Now this is to look like patchwork, so I'm going around the edge, creating stitches with cream puff in gel polish. It is okay to paint over Vinylux with gel polish as long as the Vinylux is completely dry underneath. Of course I had to add a little fun to the nails, so I'm creating patches using gel polish. Like I said before, it is okay to paint over Vinylux using gel as long as the Vinylux is completely dry. You don't want the Vinylux to smudge under the pressure of the gel polish being dry on top of it. Creating volume and texture, I carefully assemble all of the square pieces together in a patch kind of style using some glue. This next design I took inspo from Jan's love of reversible clothing. Using two tips slightly bigger than the nail you are working on, attach them back to back together, creating a cap to go over the top of a nail. Drill out the smile line to give it a French feel. This is one of the 2D nails I wanted to rely on to show the texture by just using prints. On this side of the nail, I painted paisleys, and on the other side, I painted a plaid. Use your silicone tool to clean up small mistakes. Wearing it one way is more girly and the other way is more edgy or hard rock. Oh, this nail has a soft spot in my heart because yes, I was trying ruffles my first fashion challenge, but it was these exact kind I attempted. Who knew you could sew gel polish together? I made 3 different sheets of gel to ruffle together instead of just one to make it easier to form on the nail. I just absolutely love that detail and texture. Moving on to the last nail I'm going to show, I am creating another textile by Libertine. Again, I am going in and creating it super sketchy to give it the look of fabric. Fabric has lots of tiny threads, so you see that super sketchy detail up close. Taking heavy inspiration from Jan's eyeball dress, I created a clear ruffle to go on top. And here is the final set. I can't believe season 8 is coming to a close. I want to say thank you to everyone who has voted for me along the way and believed in me. I had so much fun creating this last set, and if you'd like to see the other 4 recycled fashion sets, head on over to my TikTok at AlienGirlEmily. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for watching. Bye!